Hi, everybody. This is Greg and Mark with Sigmar and Son, our version of Adepticon at home. And we're really glad to be here with you guys today.
Finally.
It's been a long time since we've been able to do a show. There's been a lot going on in our world. And and I'm going to mute my other thing over here so I can not hear everything echoing. So, Mark got married. I think that happened last time.
Yeah, I think people know that. Got married, got a house. Yeah, they know that because we did the Halloween show.
October. Halloween show was the last time we had a show, which is really quite embarrassing. So, our offices are a little messed up. I've been working from home with the thing going on. Mark, unfortunately, hashtag I'm a nurse. I can't work from home. So everybody give him accolades because I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does dealing with all this stuff. But anyway, enough negative stuff. So welcome to the show. There's been a lot of stuff since we last had a show, and I'm just kind of running through it. There was the big FAQ, which came out, Tzeentch and Caradhran Overlords, Slaves to Darkness, Wrath of the Everchosen, and Seraphon. So that's been a ton of stuff. I don't want to talk. We don't want to dig into all that because there's been a lot of people who've done that. It's
not enough time.
Not enough time. And I guess my little hot takes on it. Armies that I deal with, Slaves to Darkness. I really liked that book. I think it's kind of middle of the road though. And so I'm not sure how competitive it is. I know the Nurgle Demon Prince was way too overpowered when the book came out. And but it's been pretty much murphed away. All the godlike battalions are back. Wrath of the Everchosen. I'm going to say I really liked the idea of that book, and I think that's a way they can go in the future to kind of bring life to other armies without having to republish a whole new battle tome. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think the Wrath of the Everchosen is a sweet book. It does. It makes it so you don't have to print a battle tome for one singular thing, and it allows you to give rules to multiple things at the same time.
Right. For example, like Nurgle was early on battle tome, and they kind of were able to breathe new life, quote unquote, back in the Nurgle.
Yeah.
And things like that. So by giving them some extra battalions and stuff. Kind of an AOS, but not AOS thing, the Warhammer Underworlds Online. That's out on Steam. I really want to check that out. I think I saw somebody earlier was streaming that, and as part of Adepticon at home, you may want to check that out. And I'm definitely planning on picking that up as a cool option. Seraphon, this was what I kind of pegged as the army I was going to do this year once a book came out. And I really do love the way that they came up with the whole Starborn and Coalesced. I'm kind of disappointed I don't get like a 5 Carnosaur army, but they went Stegodons instead. But yeah, I really like it. So it seems pretty good, and it seems pretty well balanced. I don't think there's anything like crazy. I think maybe Lord Croak's a little underpointed. But we'll find out. I haven't really been able to dig into it that much because of work and everything.
Yeah, I actually haven't been able to look at it at all.
Right.
I only know what you have told me in our phone calls while I'm driving to work.
Right. And that is our big problem, as Mark's changing up his thing, is that he does work in night shift. And so the work in the nights is kind of killing us as far as being able to get together. Anyway, the main topic we're going to do today, we'll get into a little bit of what we've been doing too. But, I was thinking that since with the Seraphon book coming out, we're kind of at the end of all the AOS 1 or armies, AOS 1.0 kind of redone into AOS 2.0.
Yeah.
And everything's been brought up to the standard. we know that there's quote unquote pointy elves coming out, and that'll probably be the elf faction. But so we thought on this show we put on our wizard hats, I called it, just trying to speculate, see what we really think, kind of throw out what we'd like to see, and maybe people in the chat could do that as well. Throw in some comments of things they'd like to see, and so basically, like, the slate is clean. They've got everything up to 2.0. What now?
Well, yeah. What's the next new army we want to see after, I guess, pointy elves?
So
Light
we know
elves.
that there's a reveal show, right? And they've probably got the giant army that they're going to talk about.
Yeah, I would guess that's next. They've hinted at that a little bit.
And so we're working on that. Working on trying to bring that to you with the Adepticon at home. I think there's gonna be events and stuff talking about that afterwards. More Kurnothi. Yeah, that would be cool. So I guess one thing that maybe if we run out of time, we'll come back and talk about it. But both Mark and I did get Star Wars Legion for Christmas, and we've been doing a little bit of Star Wars, and I've been doing a lot of 3D printing of terrain, and just not just Star Wars, but other terrain. Right now I have it off, but I'm dealing with some 3D printing of a group in St. Louis that's printing face masks for hospitals in St. Louis. So hope to get that going again here soon. I'm really liking the way that the whole world community is kicking in to try and deal with this.
In Italy, they had some people bringing in 3D printed, not ventilators, obviously, but like ventilator valves. Yeah.
Right, and there's the million mask thing.
Yeah.
People are trying to make masks too.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. I think that's probably a lot more important than us with our games. And I guess news-wise, Games Workshop's shut down. Their warehouse
was shut down.
And well, I'm just saying they did have. So if you can go to the web store, you can order stuff, but you can't get anything right now. Right. So, but give it some time. Everybody will catch up. So, kind of on to the main topic of the show, Mark. Do you want to kind of go by Grand Alliance?
Yeah,
just kind of throw out ideas, going back and forth.
Yeah, you want to start, or I can start?
All right, well, I'll start, and
we can start with Chaos.
The first one is not anything way out there, but I would say what I really let me take a step back and say what I've really loved is the new armies that they've most of the new armies that they've come out with. The Idenef Deepkin and the Caradron Overlords, I think both look fantastic. And that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for in the future. I don't know if Mr. Meff is here. I think the OCR Bone Reapers, that was something. To me, that was a swing and a miss. That might have been because my love of Tomb Kings, but we'll see.
No, I think they're just kind of boring to me. I don't know.
You're waiting for Mr. Meff in the chat to start yelling at me.
Catacross is cool, but
what's that?
I said Catacross is cool.
That model was quite cool.
Catacross is cool. That's about it.
So, anyway, so yeah, just starting with Chaos, and this one it's kind of a little boring. Goes a little bit against what I was thinking. I'm thinking that basically, what can they do with Chaos? And I think fleshing out Skaven is probably the way, something that we might see in the future. And that's really just kind of, I don't know if that's a new Ashen alliance. It could just be a whole new, in the Skaven book, they released, they listed a ton of clans.
Yeah.
So they could come out with a whole brand new Skaven clan that's, something totally different, the underwater Skaven clan or something. I don't know. But, that's kind of way I think that the Skaven book, that's the way they can go in Chaos with a new faction. Mark, do you have any ideas on that or any other chaos?
I think the Ashen thing is probably the most likely, just because Ashen has like not even one good model. Like
A couple models.
they can, yeah, but all of them suck, right? Like the only good model Ashen has is the Vermin Lord Deceiver, which is a part of the Vermin Lord kit.
Clan, right?
Yeah, but so they could resculpt the Gutter Runners and stuff like that, or not the Gutter Runners, the that's Blood Bowl, but they could resculpt a lot of the Ashen stuff and release some new sneaky
Somebody
stuff.
said the clan Molder.
Molder also could get a new update. Molder has a little bit more than Ashen. Molder has the giant rats. It has the
you got the A-bomb.
You got the Hell Pit Abomination.
Ogre.
You got the Rad Ogres, which, by the way, I find it silly that this is off topic, super off topic. You can't buy the Island of Blood Rad Ogres, which look immensely better than the other Rad Ogres they have out.
Cinderfall Gaming says Deathmaster is great. Night Runners and Gutter Runners.
Yeah.
Thanks. So yeah, I think all of those guys. I could see them resculpting those. I could see them resculpting and like, well, probably Island of Blood. They didn't have the molds anymore, or they would have to recreate molds for those. So I think that, but it would be great to get the ogre rat ogres back out and go with that.
But I think Ashen is probably just an easier. I think Ashen's the easy pick there. I think.
Yeah, they could go into that, or they could, like I said, if they want to go like a whole new clan with a whole lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
And they still could use the clan rats, and then whatever.
Yeah. All right. I honestly don't have really a chaos army I picked for my.
That's cool
stuff.
So we'll throw out something that.
Did you have another? Did you have another chaos?
Throw out a chaos. Basically, he'd like to see the Ogroids fleshed out.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Basically, you got the Thaumaturge and the new one that was released with Slaves to Darkness, right?
That looks so the Myrmidon or whatever. That Armada looks so good.
Right. And so yeah, I'd like to see that as a full faction. Thumbs up on that one.
Yeah.
Because I think it kind of fits in with what we're saying. What I was saying is something that's kind of different. Something new or whatever. It's not just kind of rehashing the same thing. So
yeah,
that'd be cool. I guess next.
We can if we see any more chaos stuff, we can jump back to it.
Okay.
You want to go to order? That's kind of I probably have more order stuff than anything.
Go for just throw something out.
All right. So I've been thinking about this for like a year. Like my favorite army I would want to see is like an Asian inspired army. A lot of my inspiration comes from D&D animes I've watched, World of Warcraft, stuff like that, and things that are already existing in the AOS world. But I think like an Asian inspired army based on like Shaolin monks and or samurais would be really cool.
So like a whole samurai faction.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen is it Titan Rage. Titan Forge has a Asian inspired line that is really awesome, that has a lot of cool models that that's kind of like something I would want to see. And I in my notes I had it like an Asian inspired army from the realm of light, because I guess when I think of monks.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're already doing stuff from the realm of light. So
the Catacross or whatever was, so he was kind of Asian inspired, but then
not
Mongolian. It was kind of a mix of everything. But the rest of them were not, right?
No, I want like full on like monks, ninja, samurai, Oni.
Oni, yeah.
That'd be sweet. I don't know. You could You could get really crazy with it. You could like have a giant dude riding a giant koi. You could have like you could do a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah. So order we talked. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about angel elves, and I don't think pointy elves are angel elves. And I don't know what Order of Azir is, Cinderfall Gaming, but maybe that's what we're talking about. But I'm talking. I would like to see angels, kind of an angelic inspired faction, winged humans. When you look at some of the 40K statues, somebody said IDNF monks riding koi. That'd be cool.
This man knows.
So, yeah. As I lost my thing there. Yeah, angels. I think that when you look at some of the 40K guys, so their statues with the big wings or whatever, or some of their Primarchs and stuff, I think you could take that, and you could even have like, I mean, there's some even D&Ds. What's the faction? There's the Paladin that can get the wings. I forget what inspired that is. Gosh, I'm having a Joe Biden moment.
Wow, you can't say that.
You say that. Sorry. Soon I'll have a Trump moment and say something really stupider. So there, I've insulted both sides. So yeah, the Angels, I think would be pretty cool faction.
Celestial beings. Like you could have like unicorns in that, like Pegasus type thing.
Like, yeah, that's right.
Like a giant like Solar. Like I'm bringing a lot of D&D in there, but
yeah, but you could have like people mounted on unicorns or something.
Yeah.
As like a cavalry faction. I don't know if the Phoenixes would fit in there somehow or whatever,
No, just full on celestial stuff.
Full on celestial stuff.
Like Pegasus, angels, something similar to what's the faction Azimir in D&D, if people know what that's like, humans that are from like angel.
Right. That's the name I was trying to think of earlier when I said I was having a moment. So anyway, that's kind of my pick for order, and that one would be pretty much out there. I think there'd be a lot of design space they could go in there too. That they could have a lot of ways they could go with that.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about any for my stuff. I just thought more of aesthetics, and I haven't really put any rule ideas I'd like to see with it. But as we're speaking, maybe we can talk about it. And yeah, I see Cinderfall Gaming talking about Scourge Privateers should just get a full army because, I mean, who doesn't love pirates? Like, I think I also agree.
Yeah, a pirate faction would be pretty cool.
Yeah, like and you already have like, Identity Thiefkin's a thing. You are like, they can play more with the sea. And who says they can't have like a flying pirate ship or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of tying into that, I guess. I had down, so I guess grots or whatever. They were the things that came in Silver Tower, right? They were the little four-legged guys or whatever that were the.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of them though.
Yeah, basically they were like sky grots, and I had written down basically grot scudlings. Perfect, thank you.
Oh yes,
Cinderfall. So yeah, grot scudlings, and I'm thinking that was like a way that is a faction that they could go with, where they could basically build essentially the sky goblins, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if you like look at Facebook, people love turning KO into goblins. Like I've seen on Reddit, Reddit and Facebook, there's a guy that is basically converted all his KO into goblins. There's a guy that has taken his squigs and basically made them balloons for their goblins. Like, so like people, that's already a thing. People like are modding and want. So
yeah. So Mark,
kind of jumped out of the order thing here, but that's fine.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm done with my. I mean, or was that your call?
Order.
Okay, so you had the Celestial one. What's mine next?
Right.
All right.
I don't know where your Clockwork.
Oh yeah, I had an idea I was talking to my dad about. I guess I kind of was like looking at KO and I was like, how could you play off more into, and I was kind of somewhat inspired by Vince V as the guy on
Ventrilo.
Yeah, well, but he has been recently doing like a Whirlwind's Edge is what he calls it. For his Cities of Sigmar, and it's like super converted, but it has a ton of like technological aspects to it. It's very steampunk-esque, and I was thinking the steampunk army I'd like to see, and I was thinking of like a Clockwork army. You could have like Clockwork horses that, you know, like basically these things are ran off of gears, and you could have like your heroes would be these things that can control these gears and manipulate them ways, and your cavalry, you'd have, you know, Clockwork men on these tinker horses basically, and almost like little mechs, I guess, but
yeah,
almost like Warforged in D&D is kind of what I was thinking.
But also, I mean, when you said that topic, I immediately thought, you know, Magic, right? So you got all the Clockworks in Magic, right? So you got the Clockwork Juggernaut, you got the Clockwork Avian, you got the Clockwork whatever. And so, I mean, as we go into rules or thoughts, right, you could go into that design space where they're wound, maybe they start more powerful and then they wind down or something, and then people can wind them up again. It'd be kind of something different. I don't know.
They do like those like progressive tables recently.
Right, it'd kind of be like a wound table, but it'd be like.
Well, you could do like how IDK has, like on this turn they do this turn they do this turn they do that. You know,
yeah, what I mean? So something like that. So first turn, all the Clockworks are wound up and they
move faster. You know, plus 2 inches to their speed.
And then, you know, basically, and then like turn 4, unless they've been re-energized or something, then, you know, they get -2 to their movement or something.
Yeah. That's an interesting. I like that.
So
but yeah, I would like to see more, because the KO is really cool. They really like dug into the steampunk portion of AOS that I don't think they got necessarily in Warhammer Fantasy. Like the most steampunk thing you had was the steam engine, right? I mean,
Steam Tank, yeah.
I don't know. Can't remember names for any.
And then that Empire thing, the Hurricaneum or something.
Yeah, that's more magic. That's more fantasy than steampunk, I think. But yeah, like KO really, you know, moved the ball into like AOS has this crazy world you can explore over there, and I think
right, the KO, I think it's one of the coolest looking factions that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And I think it probably sold well too, because it was like
it did. Yeah,
people come in and are immediately drawn to it. And I guess book wise, I think it's decent. I think, I'm not sure. I haven't been able to dig into it, but it where the new book, I've heard that you're able to do more with the ships and stuff. You could run a ship army.
Yeah.
And I should
we have a whole KO army downstairs, Dad. You can just go paint it all up.
Yeah. Mark bought into KO on the what's the right word?
I got a deal
on the bounce, or when buy low, sell high. He actually bought low on that, so that was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's really a cool army looking wise, you know. But we have a million things to paint as it is.
Facts. All right, your call out.
My call out.
Your army you want to see.
I would like to see dragons, and I know this
some Dagons.
Dragons. You know,
I do love
dragons
some
and more dragons.
dragons.
I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's Dragonborn. You know,
It's
if we're going to
Dragonborn.
call back to Dragon Lance or whatever, or something where basically you have, armies of dragon men. And I don't know if Seraphon's too close to that, but dragon men in the army, but more dragons themselves. They, if you look at their model Smog, that thing's amazing, but they really don't have much in the way of dragons in their line right now.
Forge World has the dragons, right? I mean,
but they're not. They're.
And I hate to be the rude one here, but GW does not have a great track record of with their dragons.
Well, the undead dragons are kind of cool, but the other dragons are very
Well, they just killed they kind of
One dragon.
Well, I was gonna say they killed the dragon army.
What dragon army was that? So
there was the elves, the elf dragon army.
Yeah, but that elf dragon lord, that model was horrible.
It was a bad model. You're right, but
it's old and metal. And so, maybe they did that in preparation to do this. I don't know. I just think that the sorceress on Black Dragon, and I know the dragon, the elf on dragon, both of those are really just kind of weak models. When you look at the stuff that they're coming out with now, they could really come out with some incredible looking dragon. Look at
what creature caster and
what?
Well, just look at what creature caster, their dragons are gorgeous, just kind of.
Right. I'm just saying, look at the Carcadron, or however you pronounce it, the new Slaves to Darkness mounted guy.
Yeah.
That thing's an incredible model. Yeah. So I'm thinking if they could do that. I guess maybe the downside of that is that there's too many dragons out there that are quote unquote cheap that people would.
And it's maybe not something they can IP as much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dragons are kind of just dragons. You can't really go away from.
Right.
Their armies that they come out with are pretty.
But they could come out with dragons that are not, greedy. Not colored dragons. They could,
or metallic dragons.
No metallic or colored or Tiamat or whatever, right?
Yeah. You don't have to go the D&D way.
Right. They could go. These are noble creatures, or.
Dude, they could do some Marathi stuff with dragons.
Yeah, that that would be a really cool idea, right? So I know it's a Dragonlance D&D trope.
I just they could not do D&D stuff, and then I immediately throw out a D&D trope.
Yeah. I was just Cinderfall, basically, Dragonborn, or what was the it was in Dragonlance. They were the guys that came out of the eggs, the dragon army guys.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought.
Humanoids.
Marathi. So it'd be how they have the dragons in dragons can take human form. So you could have a dragon wizard or whatever in human form, and then he could transform into the dragon.
That's what it's all about right there.
Right.
That
would be really cool. It's so you could have the dual profile for some of them. You could have people that are just regular dragon men or whatever.
Or you could have a new army that these. I don't know if you guys have ever seen How to Train Your Dragon or anything like that, but basically dragon tamer-esque army, right? These people have befriended dragons, and now dragons are fighting with them. You still have humans as your basic troop, but your monsters and heroes are dragons, people riding dragons, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I don't know what people think of that, but
everybody loves dragons. If you don't like dragons,
loves dragons. And I think that they could come out with these monsters or whatever, and if they made decent dragon rules or whatever, it's a shoe-in to add them to order armies.
Big centerpiece models sell, and it's a big centerpiece model. Dragons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. I don't know if they'll ever.
Unfortunately, I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's okay.
So.
Me next.
Yeah. What do you got going
on? We can move. All right. We'll. I'll let you call up. I don't know if this would be in order, or I was also thinking destruction for this. There's two ways you could go about it. An elemental based army, based off of like water, air, earth, fire would be really cool. And I think that could go more into a destruction army. Basically, you have the elements basically kind of just raising chaos. Oh, not chaos, but they're just like destroying. They're just traveling across the lands, destroying whatever they like come across. You could do, or you could do a more order, or possibly chaos based.
Well, you got like the
elementals that are like summoned elementals that are controlled by good wizards or chaos wizards. You could do. Or my other idea was Jinns and Afrids, kind of like going into like a more like Arab Middle Eastern inspired army.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of that stuff.
Well,
I think would be cool.
I really like the elemental idea and all that together. So I mean, you could have like earth elementals. You could have water. You could have the different.
You have earth elemental, water elemental, fire elemental, air elemental, and then you can have other versions of those. I mean, look at what's that rogue idol? Is that
rogue idol?
Yeah, that's just a big earth elemental to me. I mean, like,
right,
just a big rock man.
Right. So you could have like guys that look like rock men or whatever as your troops, and you could have different what is the right word? Like different clans, right? These guys essentially could have 4 sub factions.
Right. Yeah.
And some common models, maybe like the Jinn or the Ifrit, would be common across some of these factions.
Yeah. And then other ones, I was thinking those were like those could be like your centerpieces,
Right. Or not a Jinn or an Ifrit, but I mean inspired Jinn or Ifrit type looking thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then they could be like your elemental master, right? And then you could have other people that are humans or whatever that are elemental casters or whatever, but then then you summon the elementals.
Yeah. And then I think like it works well with kind of how the realms are, because you could basically say this, fire elementals are in the realm of fire, water elementals are in this mortal realm that has
elementals from the realm of metal.
Yeah, see, you can, you don't have to do
metal.
So you don't have to do, you don't have to do air, fire. You don't have to do the basic 4 elements. You can branch out into like kind of the crazier stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Some of that might go against, I guess what I was going to talk about with some other things, but who knows which ones they're going to pick or what they're going to do. I mean, obviously, we don't know. We're just hoping and that the stuff comes out cooler than some of the pointy elves. No, I think the pointy elves, the horses and stuff, they really nailed and look realistic. But I was kind of hoping that they would go. I think they kind of missed the mark on the Age of Sigmar mark on them.
Someone commented airbenders, firebenders, and such. You know what Avatar: The Last Airbender is, right, Dad?
Right.
Yeah, that's my show, by the way. Yeah, that's also what that would be awesome. Like an airbender.
Paul wants to see Fimir, and I don't know what those are.
Oh, Fimir. Those are like the dudes from Forge World. if you go on Forge World site, they're like, I don't want to say rap people, but
yeah. So
you know what I'm talking about now?
No.
Well, they're a Forge World army or a Forge World.
You could pull it
It's
up.
one Forge World. I can pull here. I'll pull it up real quick. You keep talking.
I can keep talking. Warhammer Quest originally. So back on Chaos, I mean, they could do something like they did. I mean, like Forge World did, you know, for Nurgle, right? And they could do it for somebody else, where basically Forge World came out with like the Plague Toads and gosh, what is the whole army that was? They basically came out with a whole new Forge World Nurgle army, and I guess they could do something like that. I don't know what you think of that, but
they could do a lot of stuff. Forge World has done a lot of like random one-offs in the world of.
They had that big toad dragon, right?
Toad dragon.
And sword. That is the word I'm looking for.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so they could do something like that with with one of the other Chaos factions as well, I suppose.
I think they removed Famir off of Forge World site. That's sad.
Okay.
I'll pull it up.
So now we're going to get to my heart. And no, we're going to go to the Death faction. And so Death, I want to see a non-Nagash faction. Or Nagash, or Nagash, or however everybody's pronouncing it nowadays. You know, and I really want this to be a Cetra-inspired.
Here, I'm sharing.
King faction. Mark is sharing.
Do you see that?
No, but I can do that now.
That's a Famir. These are the Famirs.
Okay. So they like. Okay. Cool.
Here's apparently the original carnation. That's kind of scary looking right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're originally from the Monsters Arcanum.
Okay.
So.
Good day, Coach. So yeah, getting back to they're cyclopean reptilians. But those pictures reminded me of something else. Remind me to talk about it. Okay, Death. So I'm saying like this non-Nagash faction. I'd like to see Cetra come back. I don't necessarily want to see all of the Tomb Kings per se, but you know, I really do love the snakes, the Ushabti. So like fighting statues, animates, the reanimates. And I think this was your idea, Mark, was like maybe mummies or something and reanimates. I just didn't like the way OCR, I know OCR Bone Reapers were the construct army. I just didn't like the look of Bone Army made of bones or something. But yeah, I think a non-Nagash faction that, to me, Tomb King inspired, but I don't think that necessarily that's going to happen. But that non-Nagash faction would split up Death and do a service, I think, to AOS.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so like when I was thinking of like, oh, what, I wasn't even trying to think of Tomb Kings when I was legitimately thinking of because I also wrote this down, you know. What like when you think of undead creatures, right? You think of skeletons, vampires, ghouls, zombies, spectral things. They basically have that, right? They have the skeletons for sure. They have the ghouls and flesh eater courts, right? They have vampires, and then they have Night Haunt. And then like when I was like, what's another undead thing? And I was like, mummies, dude. And then I was like, well, mummies, like that's very Egyptian. You could like play it back to Tomb Kings. You basically get rid of all the skeleton stuff, like keep the Necrosphinx, like the sweet models. You can have some skeletons, but like if they're gonna add anything to the army, or if they were gonna create a new army and say, sorry, Tomb Kings, but we still have this Egyptian-based army. I would like it to be mummies, because that's more Egyptian themed to me than skeletons are anyway.
Right. And so
we don't have mummies in AOS yet. We have so many skeletons. Osiark Bone Reaper is basically skeletons to me. Like,
right.
They look like skeletons. Like, Catacris is the only non-skeleton one.
So the one thing I had put down was, and I think this is probably the most likely way that they're going to go. I kind of think they may end up taking the vampires and splitting them off. Everybody out in the chat can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Manfred kind of known to be kind of in it for his own, right? And so I could see him breaking off, doing some thing where he's trying to, become his own god of death or whatever. They could expand the vampires somehow, and basically add to. This is why I think it's realistic. They could come out with a new book for the vampires, new rules for them, and just a couple models, and have the original models still work for that. So.
Also,
yes,
I just thought of like things you could do with the Tomb King army, just like rules wise. You could do like plagues, like as rules, like each turn this plague affects your opponent, and like locusts and stuff like that would be sweet.
Right. I do, Coach. I love your idea there. Zombie monsters.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, well, that's another thing you
could
do.
They have the zombie dragon, but.
That's about it. That's another one of like the only they really only have one zombie thing, right?
So, yeah, I think zombie monsters would be cool, and you could have more. You could have shambling zombies, things there, and I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. I mean, basically, let's get into it. We're all into those centerpiece models, right? I tend to play horde armies, but I'm tending to not like them. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'd rather have a smaller model count army. And
that's because
what's that?
That's because painting takes too long.
Yeah, painting and playing. I can't play fast enough. When you have to roll 400 dice for whatever, I just can't get my games done in time. Just old and slow.
That's all right. We forgive you.
Yeah. So I do think, zombie skeleton Stardrake. Zombie Stardrake. That'd be cool. Yeah, you could basically have rules for like summoning, but you'd have to get summoning points for people that you've killed, and then you could only summon skeletal or zombie versions of things that you've killed, somehow. I don't know how that would work, but basically it's like, well, I've killed a behemoth, so I can summon a zombie behemoth.
That'd probably be the way to do it. Because
otherwise
you'd have to make a zombie version of every single scroll
right,
in the game.
Couldn't do that, but yeah,
that's a good way to do it.
So I wiped out the battle line unit, so I can pull up a zombie battle line unit or something, summon that. So that kind of a way to do it. I'm kind of looking to see if we have anything else here. So so I was talking about a fish man when I don't know if Deepkin came out, like true fishmen. I don't know if there or a faction that's a different underwater faction.
Something that fights Identity.
Something that fought Identity. And so that would be
crab people.
Yeah, you got crabs. But no, there's a lot there, right? I mean, I don't know what you and I both saw that one miniature game, and it was at Adepticon. A couple years ago.
Reforged? Reforgers.
Reforgers maybe or something. I don't know what it is. There's a miniature game where it's an underwater game, and when you and I just both love the miniatures.
Yeah.
In a moment of sanity, we decided to not buy it because we had so much
stuff
as it was. But yeah, I really think that some sort of other underwater faction could really be cool. Hell, and we all want to see, as I'm bouncing all over the place because I'm like ADD tonight. We all want to see that Skaven submarine. Right?
AOS Coach put out like a Cult of Cthulhu. Yeah, you could have something like that, like an acolyte kind of based army.
Oh, a cult type army? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be a very chaos faction, I feel like.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, they could do like a chaos cult army.
Is the granddaughter trying to get it?
Yeah. So one of the things that happened in our life is that my son moved back from out of town, and he's living with us for a little while till we got rid of one son. The other one moved in. His
house is being built.
His house is getting built. So I guess kind of trying to switch a little bit up because we're running a little low on time. Hey, out there in chat, anybody have any other ideas they'd like to discuss? Cinderfall, this is one when you showed me those that Forge World thing, Mark, I was thinking he said lycanthropes, but they like werewolves,
lycanthropes is
Aren't there some wolf-looking man things though? And maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
What's the one game? Some other game.
War Machine. War Machine is like
something. Yeah.
I mean, they have a whole like lycanthrope-esque army. And another thing we could talk about.
Werewolves.
Yeah, I also want to see more AOS monsters. AOS Coach.
That's why when you army.
Even if they didn't make an army of it, if they just did like a kind of like what they're doing, I mean, with that like sphere ranks, right? Just like coming out with more general, like here's an order monster that you can go in any faction. Any faction can bring this in. Just like big. Right. I think that'd be neat to do if they came out with like a line like that. Yeah, we need some like Dreadmaw, some Purple Worm type stuff. Give me a Beholder.
Yeah, we were joking. We said there's no way we could say it, but a Beholder army. I mean, no way they could do that, but that would be so cool. I mean, there was an old computer game I played that had something. They didn't call them Beholders, but they were like undead floating heads. You could, do something like that. That'd be quite cool. I guess I was going to say, so I don't know what the thing is on Age of Sigmar 3. I don't know when the expected time is. Basically, 2's out now,
I don't think it'll be out for a couple of years.
Oh, I know they've got, the Back to the Fantasy World or whatever at some point coming out. So I don't know but I don't know what kind of, I guess I'd like to see a rule book kind of with all the errata and the FAQs in it, because man, it's really kind of tough to play right now with so much all over the place. I also, if they would do that, I'd love to see the whole first strike, last strike issues cleaned up.
Yeah.
And And for that, I'm thinking like some sort of thing where they give each phase sub-phases in a specific order, right? Instead of in the hero phase in whatever order you want, you would just have the first thing that happens in the hero phase is this, the second thing is this, and then some sort of concept of like a stack.
Yeah, that's what this game needs like so bad.
Right. And so I don't know if it's AS 3.0 or 2.5 or whatever you want to call it, but cleaning up that kind of stuff.
Well, they can implement a stack at any point
in an FAQ, right?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I don't know.
So, and then other thing I was going to say is there so even without Age of Sigmar 3, there's other places they could go in the design space, right? Not just models, right? So they could Cinderfall says you could use the GHB. So in the design space, you could, first of all, you could use the GHB to change up quite a bit. I mean, right now they've got all the artifacts and everything that are in the book that everybody has their own book, but then everybody takes the ethereal amulet, right? And so you could come out with a book that replaces all of those.
Like a rotating
artifact
type thing.
Yeah, rotate the artifacts to make things different.
Yeah, so it kind of like
or
changes
have
the meta.
them maybe, or rotate some of the spells. We know that there's endless spells. I don't know, and some people have terrain. One thing I thought is, something like they could have an army that where you could have an ability, or you could have an ability to transfer your command ability to a different hero in your army. So like you could spend, I don't know how it would work, but it would be like, I spend a command point to give this hero a command ability, or I give this command ability to a guy within 18 inches, and then he spends a command point to use it. But making it go out much farther.
Cinderfall Gaming just brought up a good point. Do we honestly need realm artifacts? Every army has their own artifact, basically has their own. Well, and I think that's a great point. Basically, they're printing all these artifacts in the rule book. You could just get rid of realm artifacts. Like the reason they did realm artifacts, armies didn't have artifacts.
Right. Well, Tomb Kings need it.
Well, but
no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the realm artifacts,
I mean, like
they just seem better sometimes than
with an ethereal amulet, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of built into some of the army. Lazada with the ethereal amulet.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really limit design. It kind of limits design space because you're like, well, I can't make this because I already have this, or I can't make this because I already have something close to this. You know what I mean?
Well, I could see them rotating some of the artifacts out.
I'd be totally fine if they got rid of realm artifacts. That'd be fine by me.
You know what? I kind of would be too, because now, like as you said, like Cinderfall said, everybody's got their book, which has their own artifacts. You certainly would see more use of them.
Yeah, there's so many artifacts that are like cool and interesting that do.
Right, but it's like
they're not bad things, but it's.
Am I really going to take that over these other 5 that are in the realm artifacts, which are better?
Yeah, I mean, this is a whole different conversation, but like this game does have a problem of like, if you number crunch, there is just the best thing, generally.
Right.
I suppose every game has that problem though.
So, is there any other design space type things that you think that you could do?
Well, I think I think we talked about, but like I really like the whole transforming idea stuff that we were talking about, and you could do that with the lycanthropes and the dragons and all that. Like that was cool. Like Marath, I mean, maybe if you do that, Marathi's less cool. That's like her thing, right? But seems like something you could do.
I like the Clockwork idea where they transform per turn.
Yeah, that's interesting.
As they wound up, they get stronger. As they wind down, they get weaker.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they can do. There's
interesting.
I would like to see. I don't know, kind of like a Nordic army or like a Viking army, almost based off of like.
I mean, they've got the Chaos Marauders, which are kind of.
I know, but yeah, you're right. But something like based off of Rage, like I guess that's kind of Khorne. I don't know.
Yeah, that's Khorne. So, well, and I'm gonna throw one thing out that's kind of weird. Is I'm a big comic book fan, right? So, is there any comic type army type thing they could do? I don't know if it's comic inspired. You know, I don't know if there is. Obviously, you wouldn't have people that have the names, but I'm just kind of I'm trying to think of the right word. It's more the
people with powers.
with powers, but I'm also thinking like you know, the look, right? Like, so like if you're painting comic characters, they're bright, they're
black lined. That's
yeah,
not very what's it called? Heavy metal style is the problem though. Heavy metal, like Games Workshop has their own style and they will never differentiate from the way they paint because people look at that and they say, "Oh, that is a GW style painted model."
yeah, it's probably true. That's probably not my best idea.
That's
So,
okay.
anyway, we've gone about an hour, and that's what we were slated for. So we will try and actually have like real shows.
I'm gonna be switching to days soon enough here.
You hope to.
Like I talked to my boss and they said maybe May.
Yeah, and so hopefully we'll get back to that, and we'll have some normal things.
Here's the hoping that Midwest Meltdown.
Next. I don't know who to. I forget who to tell is up next.
Mr. It's Mr. Mephisto and Tyler, right?
Oh, that's right, Mr. Mephisto and Tyler. Yeah, and so I think they're over on Twitch, and they're going to be talking. What are they talking? I don't know. I've gone blank.
I think it's just called Rantcast.
The Rantcast. Mr. Mephisto on Twitch, and they're doing the Rantcast. And that is definitely the next show. Take it. And so we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks everybody for joining. If anybody has any ideas about things they'd like to see, I'd love to see them added to the link down there. And we'll try and discuss with people. I really loved this show. I had a great time with it. And I thanks so much, Coach, for getting us involved in this, because this is really the kind of show I envisioned when we started this, where we had people interacting back and forth instead of just kind of talking out to the void. And so this was really kind of fun. So I had a great time, and hope that we'll be able to do more of this soon. So
hope everyone enjoyed it. Stay home.
Stay home. Be safe.
Here's hoping Midwest Meltdown doesn't get canceled. That would suck.
Oh, yeah, that is our next thing, Midwest Meltdown. But finally, yeah, if you like the show, hit the bell, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But whatever. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.